Hey there, YouTubers. So I shot the bulk of this review yesterday that I'm going to play here for you in just a second. And I took these guns out to the range. Most of these videos I make, I'll either shoot them one day and make the video the next, or make the video and then shoot them the next day. Some things happened today at the range, and I'll go into detail about that towards the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. But let's just say I had to make some phone calls afterwards. And yeah, so watch the rest of this video, figure out what happened today while I was shooting both of these guns. And yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about it later in the video. Enjoy this part of my impressions up until this morning, and then I'll fill you in on what went on at the end. So let's get to it. Alright, so I got the Taurus revolvers out today, the 856 and the 605, shooting some hand loads. So let's see how these guys do. 7 yards. Cold. And the 605. Hey there and welcome back. We're here again today to talk a little bit about a couple of Taurus revolvers, snub nose revolvers specifically. The Poly Protector 605 357 Magnum and the 856 38 Special. So why are we here to talk about both of these at the same time? Well, in my opinion, after having owned these both for a while, there's a lot of similarities between these two firearms, and I think a lot of people that are in the market for a snub nose 38 would be considering both of these. They're in a similar price bracket and would serve a similar purpose. So I'm gonna tell you what I think about both of these. We'll talk a little bit about it and why I think they are so similar. I'll get started today with the 605. I've had this gun for several years. I picked it up on sale. I got a good deal on it from a gun store that was going out of business, and so I just snatched it up one day. I thought it looked cool, and I didn't have as many 38 specials as I do now, so I got it intending to put a few rounds through it, but mainly to carry in my car or my truck or in a bag or something like that, because it is a little bit big for everyday carry. But some good things about this gun, it is lightweight. The polymer frame does cut down on the weight a significant amount, and it shoots pretty straight. Like, you can put it on target easily, and it's relatively accurate, especially for a snub nose. Some disadvantages to this gun is putting a 30 or a 357 Magnum round through this is absolutely painful. It's one of the worst gun shooting experiences that you could just about ever have. I mean, I'm sure there's some more painful guns out there, but I would rather put 100 rounds through a 44 Magnum of appropriate size than 10 rounds of 357s through this gun. Because it's lightweight and it's snub nose, it's just, I mean, it will beat your hand to death running 357s through this. 38 specials, are pretty nice. Like you can shoot 38 specials through this all day at the range and feel good about it. I've only shot a few plus Ps through this because they're not as readily available around here. But they're not bad. But I really, in my personal opinion, if I was taking somebody out to shoot for the first time or an inexperienced shooter, I would only be shooting regular or some light load 38s through this. And then if that's the case, if you do it like that, it's not a bad gun to shoot. It came with 2 grips, and I've got the longer grip on there so I can get all 3 of my amigos on the grip, and it adds to the controllability of it. And I do like the grip, and I like the size of the gun. I very rarely, if ever, have carried this in public for self-defense reasons, but I do often carry this gun out in the woods if I'm hunting with my crossbow, because it is so light, and I've got a pretty cool drop leg holster for it. And since it's polymer and it's kind of not the prettiest gun and not necessarily my favorite in the collection, it's not bad. I don't have anything against it, but you know, you're not going to fall in love with this poly protector. But I don't care to scratch it up or get it a little dirty if I'm out in the woods hunting, which is quite often what will happen to it. And even in that case, I carry some good self-defense 38 rounds, and I will not run a 357 through this again. Now, what I've noticed over the years of owning this, I've probably only put, I want to say 500 or 600 rounds through this altogether. When I do shoot this, I'll shoot 10 or 25 38s and I'll put it away. So I don't take it to the range and run a lot of rounds through it. But what I've noticed is, if you can see, the actual cylinder has kind of loosened up a little bit, and it's a little bit wobbly. It's got that polymer swivel attachment, swing arm, whatever you call that little cylinder connection right there. And over the years of just putting those few hundred rounds through it, it has loosened up a bit, and I'm not crazy about that. If you want something you can put 20,000-30,000 rounds through, this would certainly not be the gun to do that with. But in my opinion, it would be a good vehicle gun. It would be a good tackle box gun, a good gun for your getaway bag, something that you stash and you don't necessarily shoot or carry a lot. Or like I use it for a woods gun, going out hunting around here in Georgia. We don't have any bear dangers to speak of. We got a lot of bears, but they're not very aggressive. Now, if you're up in Alaska or Montana or something where you've got the grizzlies or the brown bears around, and go for the 44 Magnum for sure, or a 357 that's of appropriate size to handle that round. The trigger on this is not bad. It's really pretty good in single action. The double action on it is manageable, but it's really heavy. But I've always been pretty accurate with this gun, and for what I use it for and for everything I've done with it so far, it has been reliable. I will say that. I don't think it's going to last forever if I was to shoot it a lot, but shoot it sparingly, carry it when you need to, use it. I assume the way it was intended to be used, which is not as a range toy. And I think it's a pretty respectable choice. Now, compared to the 856, it's a lot lighter. This gun is certainly significantly heavier, but it's also, it's the brushed steel frame, and it's much more solid feeling. At this point, I've not owned this gun nearly as long as the 605, but I've put a lot more rounds through this one. I'm probably coming up on 1,000, maybe 1,200 rounds through this 856. And it's been really solid and feels really good. Feels great in the hand now that I've got the Taurus. I believe this is what they call the Altamont grips on it. It looks really good with these. I think it improved the look and the feel of it dramatically. They were not cheap. I want to say they were 50, $8 or $60 something dollars. I don't know. They weren't cheap, but they were worth it. I like them. I keep these grips oiled up. Of course, when I clean the gun, that ballistol kind of conditions the wood as well. But I did have a significant problem with this gun when I first got it. So quick little story. When I went and I purchased this from Academy Sports, I think they had it on sale for $30 off their normal price. And I was in there one day and saw it, and I was like, ooh, I want another 38 snub nose. I love 38 snub noses. It's one of my favorite types of guns. So I want to say I paid $300, right at $300 for this. And I thought that was a good deal. Now, I really scrutinized the display model that they had, but when I went to purchase it, they went to the back and they pulled another one out. And I took a look at it, but I obviously didn't look close enough, because when I got this gun to the range for the first time and lined up the sights and cracked off a few shots, I started to realize that the sight was not actually lining up with the rear sight. The front sight was not lining up with the rear sight evenly. It seemed like it was tilted a little bit to the left. So I brought it home and I really kind of dug into it and took some pictures, some close-up pictures, and kind of really scrutinized it, see if I was out of my mind or if I was really seeing things the right way. And sure enough, the front sight was actually cocked, so to speak, cocked off to the left. So I contacted Taurus. They were pretty, straightforward and easy to deal with. I was surprised at how easy getting this gun repaired by them was. They did a good job. They were nice. They contacted me, stayed in contact. I shipped this gun back to them, and they got it back to me, I think, in about a week. But they claimed that what happened is in manufacturing, the barrel got installed incorrectly, and it was literally just, rotated to the left some. Now, in all honesty, I think at this point it's a little bit rotated to the right. I think they overcompensated when they fixed it, but it does shoot really straight now, and I like this gun, and when I take it to the range, it goes where you point it. So I'm not going to send it back. I'm not going to complain anymore. It's a Taurus, they're not known for the highest quality, but I'm a fan of Taurus. I've got several of their guns. My G3C review got hated on a lot by a bunch of people, but that's fine. I encourage you folks to comment in any way, shape, or form. I think it's hilarious when people hate on these videos that I make. This is to remind everybody, this is not a public service announcement. This is something I'm doing for fun and just trying to help folks out if I can, who are interested in buying these guns. But overall, after I got this fixed, which didn't cost anything, Taurus took care of all the costs, the shipping, and of course the labor, because it was under warranty. But it's a good little gun now, and I do carry this from time to time. It's relatively heavy, and it is much heavier than the Poly Protector, and they're of very similar size. There's not a lot of size difference between these guns. And I do carry this from time to time, and I really like the way it feels, and I like the way it shoots. Now, the advantage, I think, that the 856 has, outside of the better feel and the better look, is that it's a 6-round cylinder. So you got 6 38 specials you can crack off if you want to, whereas the Poly Protector is only a 5-round firearm. Now, granted, you could put 357s in this, but it's hard to control, and it's, like I said earlier, it's a painful experience to shoot 357s out of this gun. I've only shot a couple of boxes out of it, and I'll never shoot another one. I run 38 specials, and actually I run mostly these Liberty Defense rounds through it, which I did a video on that, see what these things will do to a melon. This is the gun I used in that review, and you can see that it shoots pretty accurate. I put it right on that melon at 15 yards, and it cracked a hole right in it. But these Liberty Defense rounds are supposed to be a little lighter recoil than a normal 38 special. I don't know if I believe that. I've been hand loading 38 specials a lot, and I try to load them pretty much by the book at the top end. And these things, they kick a little bit, but I don't see how you could really want much more than what one of these guys is offering, unless you're in bear country or something. And if you are in big bear country around here, you know, we don't have to deal with that. But if you're out there in the West and you need a 44 Magnum, use that. But here in the South, for any kind of defense against, you know, self-defense against a human, these rounds are going to do everything that you need them to do. They travel really fast. The 38s are I'm pretty sure they're about 1,500 feet per second, and the 9mm are 2,000 feet per second. I think I misspoke on my review of that, but they're really getting the job done. I've shot a few boxes of these things. They're loud. Man, those things are loud. But you know, I feel great about using that for self-defense. If you know much about bullets, you know that the 38 is actually very comparable to the 9mm in a lot of ways, and you know, anybody in the know understands how viable a 9mm is for self-defense. And maybe back in the 60s and 70s, the 38 rounds were not as effective, but I think these days they're pretty good. So overall comparison with these two firearms, if I had to choose just one for everyday carry and just outright self-defense, I would go with the 856, even though it's a lot of added weight. But I think there's a place for both of these guns. I really do enjoy the lightweight of this one and the fact that I don't need to shoot it much. I've got a ton of other guns I can take to the range that are chambered in 357 and 38 special. And, you know, when I'm out in the woods deer hunting, it's just good to have a sidearm. You don't know what's going to go on, you know, with animals or with people or anything. So I like to have that sidearm on me. And since it is polymer and it's not a showpiece, you know, who cares if it gets dirty or scratched up. This is one of those that you could polish this up, and man, it would look like a really cool gun. But having said all that, if I was just choosing from any gun and I had to do it all over again, I think I'd probably spend the extra $100 on the Smith & Wesson. Really, in the end, I think you're getting more for your money that way, because if I'm not mistaken, the comparable S&W model to the 856 is about $100 or $120 more, because I think this retails for $329 if I'm not mistaken, so $330, and I think for about around $450 or $460 you can get the Smith & Wesson. I think it's a 642 or something like that. But hey, if you got a Taurus, they're good guns. They get the job done, but I don't think they're made to last quite as long. And you know, it is what it is. But for a range gun, I really do enjoy shooting this 856. It'd be a good gun to teach somebody with, because it's got enough weight to where it doesn't have massive recoil. And the trigger is smooth. I mean, it's really smooth. Single action is obviously better, but the double action pull is not heavy. You know, for the wife or the girlfriend or a lady to manage the double action pull on this would be easy, or just somebody with weak hands. I don't mean to generalize ladies. But the trigger pull on the poly protector is much heavier in double action. So anyway, let's go shoot these guys again. I'll cut some more footage from the range in there. And if you're interested in these Taurus firearms and you're a Taurus fan, I don't think you could go wrong with the 856. You may be disappointed with the 605 if you intend to shoot 357s out of it. If you keep it to the 38s, I think you'll be all right. And if you don't put a ton of rounds through it, I think you'll be fine. I've had it for almost 10 years now, coming up on 10 years. And like I said, I hadn't put that many rounds through it, but it's hanging in there, and it gets the job done. So we'll see you guys next time, and get some shooting done. We'll see you on the range. There you go.
Now I wanna know, wow, now where you going? Oh, I wanna know, baby, now where you going? Why you let me sitting here, wow, by myself all alone?
So that was the video, the review that I made prior to today. I filmed that, I think, 2 days ago. And it was my honest opinion of what had gone on up until today. Now, at the range today, as you may have seen in the footage that I just cut into this video a minute ago, I had some problems with both of these guns. With the 605, the best I could tell, it got out of time or something with the cylinder. It got out of sync with what was going on. And it's been having some kind of weird problem where the cylinder kind of wants to jump before it actually drops the hammer. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but the cylinder doesn't move as smoothly as I think it should. But today, as you see in that footage, it fully locked up after just a few rounds through it. As far as the 856 goes, I've experienced this problem a couple of times before, but I've shot this gun a lot. At this point, I've probably got, I don't know, 1,400 rounds through it, because I put a lot through it today. I got the 125 rounds I put through it today. But it's had some issues where every once in a while, when you pull the trigger, it just goes click. And I attributed it somewhat to either, I don't know, human error in some way, or breaking in, or maybe it was the ammo or something. But today, very obviously, I'll show you the picture right here. It was getting some light primer strikes, and that was happening too regularly. So it happened probably 4 or 5 times today. Like I said, I think I shot about 120, 125 rounds through it. And it happened a few times. And it was odd. I've sent this thing back one time, like you heard in the video, and I contacted Taurus today, called them up, and filed claims on both of these guns. They told me that this one, even though I've owned it for almost 10 years, still covered under warranty if it was not ammo-related damage or something. And I think that's a little bit ridiculous, because I think they could say anything was ammo-related damage unless it just fell apart in my hand before I ever shot it. So we'll see how that turns out. We'll see what they say about it. They're making me pay to ship it back, which is bad business on you, Taurus. Bad, Taurus. But we'll see how it goes. I'll give you another update of these when I get them back. Probably be a couple weeks at the minimum. I'm suspecting I'll mail them off tomorrow. Taurus was relatively easy to get on the phone. I had to wait about 10 minutes on hold to talk to somebody, but they're nice. They gave me all the information, and we'll see what they do. So anyway, that's the story on the 856 38 Special and the 605 Poly Protector. Stay tuned for the final update on these guys. The last thing I will say at this point is I don't think I will be buying another Taurus firearm anytime soon. So think of that what you will. Hate on me in the comments if you want to, or give me your experiences with these things. If you've had a similar experience, if you've had a good experience, bad experience, let me know down there in the bottom. I'm happy to talk to all you folks out there and hear your experiences, because I'm just a guy. I'm nothing special and certainly no expert on anything. But I thought both of these guns had been really reliable. They had done me right for a good long while. And then today, as I was shooting parts of this very video that you're watching right now, they both let me down in a way that I don't think I can overlook. I don't know that I'll ever carry either one of these guns in a situation where I need it to work. So we'll see what happens with the factory, and stay tuned for the end of this. So see you later.